Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Pull up the economic. How's everyone doing? Beautiful morning here in Florida. It's like 70. It looked perfect out. Yeah, 62. 62 and sunny this morning. Oof. Doesn't get much better than waking up to that. I'll say that. But that is going to be short-lived, man, because summer is coming. And summer in Florida is absolutely terrible. Man, it sucks. I hate summer here. I'm trying to build a plan to like be a snowbird, because it is just way too hot here in Florida during summer. 61 Orlando, nice. Yeah, beach day. I might, you know what, man? It's not a bad idea. If MU can drop a little bit for me, I'll go to the beach today. If I get stopped out on MU, then maybe it should still be a beach day, right? Maybe it's a relaxing beach day, even if I do take a loss on that trade. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Why is Vincent a good trader and not me? How we doing? 49 Savannah. You like the Florida heat? Oof. The humidity is not good for me. I sweat the second I walk outside. What's going on, Chef? All right, guys. Well, how many we got? Wait a few more moments to wait for some people to come in, but good morning. Hopefully you guys had a good day yesterday. I had a good intraday trading day. We had some really nice trades on the Qs, on the SPY. If you guys are in the chat, you know that. Some really nice setups, really just perfect execution, no drawdown. So very happy with my intraday execution yesterday. My MU swing trade is staying alive, so I'm still wanting to see this out a little bit. So I'll sort of break down why I'm still in this position. And so yesterday was a pretty non-event for me, which I sort of expected with a lot of these earnings and economic data this week. So I'm waiting it out just a few more days to see what this MU wants to do. Some key levels to be watching on the ESNQ as well. Yeah, the Islanders choke job. I live betted the I live bet the I live bet the Canes to come back when they were down 3-0 for like plus 350, and it won and it hit, and I was pumped. I was happy to see the Islanders lose, and I was happy to hit a live bet for the comeback. What a sick game that was, though, if you watched it. Playoff hockey, man. There's nothing like playoff hockey. Nothing. For me personally, playoff hockey is the best thing to watch, hands down for me, no questions asked. Doesn't compare to anything else. For some people, not so much, but I personally believe that. But back to the market. So yesterday, little up, little down. Both, opportunities to both sides for traders, which was great to see, right? We like to be able to see both sides, both opportunities. We had some morning downside off key levels. We had a nice upside later day. And then this morning, we have some key levels that are holding and some key levels above. So interesting day here. And I'm still a little bit cautious, personally, of the upside that we're seeing into these earnings and into some of this economic data. So you can't really trust either side right now with a lot of unknowns approaching, right? We have a lot of earnings, big earnings, such as Microsoft, Google on Thursday, which could drastically affect and change where this market is looking, right? If we get upside into Thursday and then Microsoft reports terrible earnings, right, it's going to drop the market. So got to be taking things with a grain of salt, scalping intraday moves, right? That's really all I would trust. I'm a little bit upset with myself that I'm in this MU trade, I will be honest. I don't think I needed to take this, but I think it was because I was up a very large amount on Friday, and I said, let me go ahead and take a shot for this gap fill. When I have big profits, guys, this is what I do. I'm not afraid to say it. I don't care if you think it's wrong. I really don't care what anyone says. This is how I trade. If I'm up a lot of money on a day, I'll risk some, right? Because that's just what I do, right? I'm very comfortable with how much I'm up on the year. I was very comfortable with how much I'm up on Friday. And so I said, hey, let's throw a little bit of this in MU for this gap fill and see what happens. So, we'll see what happens on that one. I still like the setup. And at the end of the day, for me, it's just trading with some of that profit on Friday. So that's my day yesterday in a nutshell. Let's continue. Let's continue to the intraday stuff. So let's pull up the economic calendar. That's number one. Here we go. So economic calendar, you guys can see right here, 9:45 today, right? 9:45 today. Manufacturing PMI, services PMI. We'll keep an eye on that, right? We'll keep an eye on that, 9:45. So that's 15 minutes after open. So that could be something to be very careful of, right? Very careful of. So 15 minutes after open, be a little bit cautious of what you're in, what you're scalping, what you're holding. That is definitely an influential event here. So keep an eye on that, 9:45. All right. 10 o'clock, new home sales and manufacturing index. We'll see what happens there. See if there's any movement off that at 10 o'clock. But I think the PMI is probably the more important one this morning. 8:30 tomorrow, you have durable goods. You have crude oil inventories, 10:30. Thursday, you guys can see GDP. This is probably your biggest day of the week right here. GDP and unemployment claims on Thursday. And then a little bit of pending home sales at 10 o'clock. And Friday, PCE, consumer sentiment. All right, that's that. Let's go to the earnings calendar because this is probably the most important thing to be paying attention to, guys, this week is the earnings calendar. This is definitely going to be on some big watches and definitely going to affect the market here this week. So today, you guys can see right here, before open, we had GM, UPS, GE, Pepsi, Lockheed. I think all of these did pretty well, actually. GM, not bad. Nice up on GM. GM's been performing pretty well, actually. You guys can see right here. GM up on earnings. UPS is looking like it's flat on earnings, so not much there on UPS. GE, I was looking at GE stock this morning. GE has been absolutely straight up, man. You're alive. I didn't see video posted in 6 days. Yeah, guys, sometimes I just, I'm going to take some time off, man. This is what I don't want my YouTube career to be like. It is very easy if, obviously you guys aren't familiar with it because most of you probably aren't content creators for a living, but, or make content for pretty much every day. It gets exhausting, guys. Trust me. Okay. It gets exhausting. Making live streams every morning, then making videos at the same day. So sometimes it's nice to have a little break. So that's why you haven't seen a video from me in 5 days. It's nice to have a little bit of a little break, little mental break, and sort of recharge the batteries and sort of create new content, think of new things. I was actually on the phone with Carmine yesterday. We were trying to brainstorm some new things to do together. Just one of those little mental brainstorm recharge moments for me, which I think is very important. Anyways. So GE did very good, right? You can see right there. GE, very nice. Pepsi, I think Pepsi's up as well on earnings. That's basically flat. And what did Lockheed do? LMT. Not much there. All right. So that's that. Let me go ahead and pull this back in. And we'll look at what happened to this? Look at the rest of the earnings. So you guys can see right here. Today, after hours, Tesla. All right, Tesla right there, big time. Visa, Enphase, Texas Instruments. That's about it for tonight, but Tesla's going to be big, right? Tesla's going to be big, all right? So the thing this is what I'll say about Tesla, all right? This is going to be my take. If you guys are interested in my take, right? If that is what you're here for, my take on Tesla, implied volatility crush, okay? I would assume that if there's bad numbers on Tesla, it is pretty much already expected, already into the stock. I don't think Tesla will move lower than the expected move on bad earnings. I'd be shocked. That's my take, but that takes on earnings are complete guesses, okay? So I have no idea. Let me make that very clear. I have no idea what Tesla's going to do on earnings, but if Tesla reports bad earnings, I do not think it will go down further than the expected move because it has already down so much. It would really need to be like, hey, we're going out of business because Tesla is down astronomically. And I don't think a bad earnings report is going to break it down more than the expected move. Surprises to the upside would be probably very aggressive. I don't know. That's my guess. I'm not playing it. I will have no money on the line besides the shares that I own. So that's that. Boeing before open tomorrow, AT&T. After hours tomorrow, Meta, big time, IBM, Ford, Chipotle. This is the big event of the week right here. Thursday after close. Microsoft, Alphabet, big time there Thursday. All right. Let's jump into the futures. Tesla will go out of business soon. Here we go. Here comes whatever. Everyone knows what's going to happen to Tesla. The Tesla pros are out. All right. Let's continue. Tesla will go out of business soon. All right. So 30-minute chart on, let's start on the NQ here. 30-minute chart on the NQ. And there is a very, very clear level. Very, very clear level. And it is right here. 17,460 is abundantly clear on the Nasdaq. And I have basically told myself that you do not trust the longs if the Nasdaq is under this level. That's just personally what I'm looking at here. This is the key level, right, guys? Something to pay attention here, right? Pay attention here. This level, this 17,460, this is the key level that caused the Friday downside. Okay, so if we go to the 5-minute chart actually, no, I think it was on the 2-minute. It was a little bit more clear. If we go to the 2-minute chart on Friday, let me get into Friday's action here. This was the pre-market high on Friday, right? Coming into that really ugly down day Friday, right? This was the pre-market high. So we had a little bit of a pop above that. We rejected this high around that 553. We came back down. And when we turned this level back into a rejection point, right? When we failed back under this level right here and this pre-market high right here, it was pretty much the day was done, right? After this failure, it was open the floodgates, right? So that's the floodgate level, right? There's going to be a lot of action at that level. So you have the pre-market highs here on Friday. After you broke under that, the floodgates were opened, right? You popped back into this level yesterday and rejected, right? And you are moving slowly back into this level today in the pre-market, and you are rejecting. So this, to me, is major, right? I do not want to be long. I do not want to get faked out here. I would rather, here's sort of where my mindset's at, right, guys? Whether this is how you want to approach this or not, don't just, all right, guys, remember, I'm just here speaking my words, right, and doing what, and saying what I'm doing. That doesn't mean it's right, okay? I would rather be wrong with the market going higher than longing into very known supply levels, right? I would rather be wrong here. If I'm going to be wrong at all on this market, which is okay, right? It's okay to be wrong, right? Make sure you remember that, guys. It's okay to be wrong once in a while. I would rather be wrong trying to short a continuation of trend in supply levels than trying to long back into these heavy levels against this trend, right? I'd be more happy and comfortable with myself saying, hey, you tried to short the continuation of trend at key supply levels. I would rather be wrong and get squeezed out of that than try to long, right, these lows back into these very heavy stair-stepping downside supplies, right? So that's where my head's at right now. I will continue to try to trade this downside trend until I believe it is broken, okay? So that's where my mind's at. I will continue to try to trade the trend, which we all know is the proper way to trade, until it is broken, until I have been proven incorrect, right? So that's where my mind will be until something changes, all right? So for now, my mindset is, hey, if we're under 17,460, I'm going to continue to look for this short play, continue to look for that rejection, and possibly even look for a sexy little bear flag to set up, right? Maybe one of these little sexy bear flags to set up for more downside, right? That's sort of where my mind's at right now. Now, if we get over 17,460, right? If we get over 17,460, then we will likely move higher into the Friday high, the Friday pre-market high, which is still a very heavy level, right? I would be very sweaty being long into 17,553, right? I would be very sweaty holding longs into Friday's rejection point that caused one of the larger downside days on the market in a very long time, right? This was one of the largest downside days on the market, maybe not so much for the market itself, but for other equities like NVIDIA, SMCI, some major downside on this Friday, and that came off of that 17,553, which we are nowhere even near yet, right? We would need another, at this point, another 1%, 1.5% green day to even get close to that 17,553. And even at that point, I'd still be cautious of that rejection, right? So a lot of levels above, guys, a lot of levels above, and I would really make sure, I'm not trying to get too bearish here. I'm trying to stay with the trend, right? That's what I'm trying to, more than anything, talk about here. I'm trying to keep us with the trend of the market. I would make sure that you do not get tunnel vision, right? Because I guarantee you there was a bunch of people that failed to look and zoom out yesterday and thought that this move yesterday was a monster breakout move, okay? Like if you're looking at this on the intraday, you probably think, hey, this is a monster breakout long yesterday. What a big move for the market yesterday. This is definitely going to change things to being looking for upside. Guys, right, zoom out. That was nothing, okay? You have to make sure you understand, the structuring moves here. That upside yesterday was nothing, right? It did not even get over some of those Friday rejection points. So you have to make sure we really zoom out and look at the structure of these moves. We really need, in my opinion, like something at least over Friday's highs, right? We need to get above Friday's highs for me to be confident saying, hey, that's an important breakout, right? If we get above Friday's highs and we start to hold Friday's highs, at least that is a day above a previous high, right? We need the market to make stair steps higher to think it's going to continue higher, all right? So if you have a high here, If that's your Friday high right there, anything living below that Friday high is not bullish, right? We need to get back above this high to then think about looking for upside, right? So at the very minimum, I would want this Nasdaq over Friday's highs, right, to actually think that there could be upside. Until then, you are stair-stepping to the downside, right? So this is very important, guys. I know it's difficult to think about this intraday, all right? I know you get sucked in, right? You're watching the 30-second, you're watching the nanosecond chart. You know, you're looking at it like this. You're like, holy shit, what a move to the upside. But you got to think sort of longer term, bigger picture with the structure of the market. This is still weak, right? This is still not a big move. So very much uncertain still. And like I said earlier, everything I'm talking about technically, and this is the problem with this week, everything I'm talking about structurally here and technically could be invalidated on earnings. Okay, so that's the other problem that I don't like about this week is, hey, right, this might look weak and, the right move might be to short this supply. But if, earnings comes out on Google and they absolutely destroy expectations, right, Nasdaq's going to go straight up, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. So that's just what happens. Beardsley Doomhammer. I don't believe that's your real name. If it is, I apologize for laughing. But great name, Beardsley Doomhammer. Thank you for the $10 dono, my friend. Very much appreciate that. And I hope that's not your real name. If it is, I apologize. If it's not, great name and good laugh there. All right, let's continue. So that's the Nasdaq, guys. That's a big spiel about the Nasdaq. Sorry it was so long. But I think that was an important sort of concept there. That's like course material right there that I'm here talking about on a live stream for free, which we still can't get 1,000 likes on a live stream, which is absolutely insanity. 17,460, big level there. 17,300 is an important support below. And then 17,553. And 17,618. Okay. QQQ. You guys can see right here. I think it's possible that the QQQ will need to trade slightly higher. It's still possible that I think the QQQ may need to trade slightly higher into the 100 SMA. I think that is possible. So you guys can see right here. 100 SMA is right at that 423, right? It's 423. That is possibly where the Qs need to trade into before there's some rejections that come in. So watch that 100 SMA on the Qs. That's up at 423. That's also that Friday high. So that's a big watch there. The other level to watch here is yesterday's high around 421. We can see that's a rejection, 421. The important support below is this 418, right? That's an important hold yesterday. So if we hold over 418 today, guys, the market probably withstands itself, right? If you hold over 418, I would be careful on the short side. That's an important hold, right? We can see here 418 turn from rejection into support. So 418, very important. If you pull back and hold that level, markets will maintain, okay? 418, big level, upside supply 421. And remember, I would be very cautious, longing very aggressively into the 100 SMA on the QQQ. Okay, keep an eye on that level. All right, ES. So ES 5080, guys. The title of this live stream you can see is this ES level will be very important, and that is 5080. That is the level we're talking about here. That is the level in focus today. It is 5080 on the ES. It is right here. It's massive. So Monday's lows, Tuesday's lows, Wednesday's lows into highs, Thursday's highs, yesterday's highs. I mean, you had reactions at this level all last week. Almost every trading day of last week, you had reactions at 5080. Yesterday, you popped into 5080 and rejected. Today, you're under 5080. What happens at 5080 will be the deciding factor, in my opinion, in the short term. If you get over 50.80, I think you will squeeze straight to 51.30, 51.27. All right. If you get over 50.80, there will be a lot of shorts that get out, and this will probably squeeze right to 51.27, 51.30. If you stay under 50.80 and you sort of get weak on this market again, and you maybe break under this 50.40, break this 100 SMA, this could be your next downside move. This could be your next leg lower, right? So you guys can see right here, 50.40, you got the 100 SMA below on the ES, and then 50.80. This is your channel, right? It's about a 40-point range on the ES here. You can see we're in it right now. If we break under that 100 and stay weak, you're looking down. If you get over 50.80 and hold, you're probably pushing up into these highs at 51.30. Okay? This is a pretty clear read on the ES here and should be very explanatory if you just wait for it to show you something, right? If you trade within here today, you're probably going to get pretty chopped up. If you wait for the break and hold over 50.80, you'll probably find a nice trade. And if you wait for the break and hold under 50.40, maybe you wait for it under the 100, you'll probably find a nice trade as well. But you gotta wait for one of those sides to break. So that's what I'm looking for on the ES today. Be careful up at that 50.80. That's gonna be big up there. SPY, that's around 502.50, 502.40. You guys can see it right here. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom into I'll go to the 15-minute chart. That is right here. So you have this 502.45 right in there. That's yesterday's highs. That's these previous lows right here. And then above that, it's 504. 504, 504. If you guys remember from last week, Wednesday's highs, or Wednesday's rejection, 504. Thursday's rejection, 504, right? So that 504 is very big up there on SPY. 504, yesterday's highs, 502.50, right? 504, 502.50. Michael, this is, again, what people, do not, they just can't, I don't think people comprehend this. There's possibility to open positions with small size to that you just don't care what happens, right, guys? That is a possible thing to do. So yesterday, I opened SPX puts overnight. I opened one contract for $400, okay? Guys, I have no interest in dumping a $400 SPX contract. I have a $50,000 trading account. When I tell you I'm taking one contract and I will let it go to zero, that's what I will do, okay? I do not care to lose $400. I will not dump my SPX contract. No, I'm not panicking in this trade, okay? This is something I see a lot when people ask me about my trades. It is possible to open trades, guys, and not panic, okay? There is no reason to dump my SPX contract. All right, let's continue. So, 502.50, right? 502.50, 504. Those are my two levels above. To the downside, 498.50. It's very clear levels there. Let's watch these today. Here's your channel of the day, right? That's your channel of the day, which aligns with our ES very clearly, 50.80 and 50.40. Okay, very, very clear. All right. RTY, Russell Wilson, Russell Westbrook. Still iffy on the Russell here, but the thing I will say is you're probably going to have a general maintain at this 200 SMA, right? I'd be careful getting too aggressive to the short side right at this 200 SMA, right? You're probably going to see a general maintain at that level. So be aware of that on the Russell. That is a monster level. That 200 SMA is the only indice that's near a 200 SMA. That's big time. So 1960, Russell, 200 SMA, big level here. Looks like a general maintain on a little inverse head and shoulder, right? Which is pretty nice. I'd say be careful on the short side into this level. It's probably going to battle, right? It's probably going to battle. So keep an eye on that RTY. Yes, it is absolutely different, Ghost. And that is not, I don't have sympathy for that, right? I'm trading with that size account, so I'm going to trade that way. If you don't have that size account, then you need to change the way you trade, right? That's just the simple fact. This is trading This is grown-up stuff, right? This is not, rainbows and butterflies. So, yes, I trade with a $50,000 account. I can take 400 throwaway trades. That is just simply the truth of the matter, right? I can afford those risks. If you do not have that, then you cannot afford those risks, and you need to understand that. All right, so next, 38,300 on the Dow, right? You can see right there, 38,300 on the Dow. You can see right here, 38,880 on the Dow. That's really the zone that you're still trading in. Yesterday, the Dow held above that previous high, which is very nice. You can see we talked about that Dow 100 SMA, and you saw the rejection come in at that 100 SMA. So that's very clear. You can see that 100 SMA is causing rejections right there, right? That is something you want to be careful of if you are trading the Dow. And then above that, you're watching the 38,880. So 38,880, 100 SMA, and then that downside demand at 38.3. All right? All right, that's the futures. If you guys could, press that like button for me. Let's get into some stocks. Tesla. I have no interest in Tesla today. Implied volatility, or the expected move is 12.58. Wow, that's a big move. So that's like a, 8%, 9% move. 10% would be 14. So let's just call it 8, 9%. That's a big move. So expected move is $12, meaning that is 53. That is up to here, right? Either up to 153. That's, of course, if Tesla closes at the current price, but up to 153 or down. What is that? 130? 130? That would be a big drop for Tesla. So expected move is $12. That's a big move. Be careful with the option contracts. They're going to be very, very expensive. Yesterday, I actually, which I sort of regret, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I regretted this slightly. But we absolutely nailed the top of Tesla yesterday, and I just didn't take the trade. We were talking about, hey, let's watch this 144 supply. We were in the chat. I know some of you guys took it. I said, hey, I'm not taking it. The IV was 100%. So I sort of just said, you know what? Let me not get involved in this. I should have taken it. Obviously the idea was right. The IV was 100%. And I think the contract still moved a little bit. But be careful on Tesla contracts intraday today, guys. The implied volatility is extremely high. And the moves that you see on the stock, on the underlying stock, will not translate into the expected options increase that you're used to, okay? If you see Tesla drop $1, you're probably used to seeing like a 10, 15, 20% trade. It's not going to be that way, okay, because that IV is so high. So be aware of that before you trade Tesla. It's probably not worth your risk today. No interest in Tesla. Let's keep an eye on it. Let's see what happens post-earnings. I just started to show you this to show you about the expected move, and that's about all I got for you. So let's continue. NVIDIA. Man, this could be a really interesting setup, guys. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I am saying that I will be watching it like a hawk. Because if NVIDIA bear flags higher into 830, this could be a very interesting trade and could be the next big opportunity, in my opinion, here. 830 was the floodgates opening move, right? This was the floodgates. This is the opening to the upside down right here at 830, right? This right here. When we broke 830 on Friday, straight down. We are trading higher, slowly, shitty upside, right? Remember this shitty sort of grind upside. We talked about this yesterday. Back into the previous floodgate open level. Okay, those gates are now closed, right? So I would be looking to see, let's move back higher, get back into that 830, and see if this causes a reaction. This is going to be a major watch for me. It is not there yet. It probably doesn't set up until next week or maybe later this week off of an earnings move, right? I'm assuming NVIDIA, if it's above 800, will likely try to grind higher here, right? If NVIDIA is over 800, I would assume upside on NVIDIA up into this 430 level. Okay, so that is really what I'll be watching for. I'm watching for NVIDIA to continue this grind higher. Over 800, I'd assume this is upside action. You could look for the upside today on a hold over 800. That looks very nice. I would look for that setup here, over 800, possible longs. Just be careful of some of that market reaction, market downside, rejection areas. But if we can push higher off this 800, then I would watch this 830. Okay, this would be a big level to watch. This is where the floodgates opened on Friday, right? We tried to hold it Friday morning. We fell below it. We rejected it, and that was it. So big level up here, 830. Keep that on your watch. Over 800, be careful on the short side. If you break back under 800, that could weaken. Okay, you could create a little head and shoulder here as well, right? If you get back under 800, you could create a little head and shoulder here. Left shoulder, right shoulder, head. That's if you get back under 800. But as of right now, still looks pretty strong. Might move higher, in my opinion. All right, AMD. If we go down to the 15, AMD got over that 151 level, which is very impressive because if we zoom out, 151 is a big level for AMD right here. 151, it got right over it without much really hesitation here, which is a little bit strange because it's in the pre-market and it's just a squeeze. So I don't trust it that much. That is a very big level to just squeeze over in the pre-market on pretty much non-existent volume. So be a little bit careful here on AMD with that squeeze over 151. If it does really hold that level intraday today, then it's going to move higher, probably into this 154. If you fail back under that 151, fail back under like that 150, that could really start to get hit again. So watch that 150, watch that 151. I'm a little bit turned off by this squeeze above that level in the pre-market with no volume because that is a 4-hour major double top high. So I'm sort of confused as to how it did that. So just be careful of that. I don't really like the pre-market squeeze above that level. I would want to see solid intraday action above that level to really prove that it's going to hold, right? If we can get some real solid hold here all day, like 15, 30 minutes, a really solid maintain, good volume coming in, then I'd look for the upside continuation towards that 154. All right, TSM. This looks very interesting as well. This looks sort of like NVIDIA, right? Big breakdown, little bit of a grind higher, and we have to watch the rejection points now. So 134, 134, and if I go back here, 134, 134, 134. Previous major lows on TSM, right? TSM kept being held up by 134 for a very long time. On Friday of last week, we had a major drop under 134. So now, naturally, with my system, my strategy, I am going to look for this, right? I'm going to look for TSM to come back up into that 134 and do a break and retest on a larger term time frame, right? On a 4-hour chart here, you can see we have broken this 4-hour channel. This was a 4-hour channel on TSM. We have broken below it, right? So now I am looking for previous channel lows to turn into new channel highs, right? That's just what I look for. So previous channel lows, 1, 2, 3, I'm looking for that to turn into new channel highs. So I will be looking for that 134 level, right? I'll be looking for that 134 level on TSM. It's not quite there yet, so really no trade for me there. Right, let's go to MU. So MU, it's really defending this gap fill, right? And this is sort of the play that I've been looking for, guys, is this gap fill move. I've been looking to see if MU would fill this gap under 107 towards that 98 level. Might be a little bit too advantageous with what the market's currently doing, right? The market's sort of maintaining itself, but that is a big gap that I'm trying to see if I can catch. We might need, it looks like to me that what we might need to do is sort of trade back up into this 114, right? We might need to trade back up into where this previous high was. So this high right here, it might need to do something like this, right? So we might need to trade a little bit higher on MU into that 114. That's right up there. I still think MU overall is a weak, sort of trending weak move, right? There's no really flip here yet on MU. I think this upside is still relatively weak, but I'm trying to find that proper rejection point. If I go down to the 15-minute chart, I can see there were some very clear rejections here on Friday of last week at 111. So that is sort of the level that I have set for myself right here at 111. You can see those very clear wick rejections all Friday morning that caused that downside. So I will be looking to see rejections at 111 today. If we get over 111, I would assume MU moves into that 114, right? Over 111, I would assume MU gets to that 114, which is, right, if we go back, that 114 is this high, right there. That 114 is that very major high right here, post earnings, right? So we had earnings move, gap up, 114 rejection, next leg higher, right? That's 114. That's where I think you may have to come back up to before any kind of downside comes in. So keep an eye on that. 114, 111 today on MU. All right. Let's go to Coinbase, because Coinbase is doing pretty much the exact same thing the last few days, and you could look to scalp it again if you want. Very clear supply highs here at 230. All right. You can see right here. Very clear channel high supply, 230. Very clear channel low demand, 206. You could, if you want to try to trade the channel today, you could look for it. Yesterday, there was definitely a channel trade. You can see yesterday, we had a pop to the upside, right into that supply. Nice consolidation, nice downside move, and it came right back up, right? So nothing more than a scalp. That's just what this is. This is the scalping channel. So you can see right here. Rejections, 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 right? 230, 230, 230. So I would say you can look for that again today if you want to look for that, channel continuation. Watch for that 230 rejection on Coinbase, and the demand down here is 206, right? All right. Meta, I'm not that interested in Meta. You do have earnings on Thursday, so I'm not, or on Wednesday, so I'm not like that fond. Also, Meta contracts are an absolute gold. I mean, they're just so expensive. They're crazy expensive. So I'm not really going to be looking to trade Meta, but I would say you can watch this push into like 497, right? If Meta pushes into 497, and that 50 SMA, right, then I would say you could look for some rejection plays. But with how expensive Meta contracts are and how high this IV is, I would probably look at this. You guys see this? You see this? It's oh my God. Okay, there we go. All right, I can't talk because if I talk, it puts it into, there it is. It's doing it again. I don't know how to disable the voice. How do I do it? It's working. Look at this. It's still going. Meta expected move is $37. So that's like it's less than 10%. It's like 7%. So that's that on Meta. I don't think it's doing it anymore. So Meta 497, IV so high, expected moves high, stay away from it. I can't talk when I'm going to type something in. All right, Amazon. What the hell? What is going on my computer? Amazon. So you guys can see right here, Amazon got back over, right, that 177, right here, back over 177, 177, 177. You can see right here, we got this little inverse head and shoulder action, back over 177, and Amazon looks pretty strong over that level, right? Over 177, I think you're probably going to move into this 180, right? That's looking to be where you can push into. So I would watch Amazon into this 180 today. 180, 180, 180. Very strong move here, right? On this Amazon, hold above the 50 and hold above 177. So nice little recovery here. Watch this 177 or 180, I'm sorry. If you get over 180, I would say you can move into that 182. Okay? So big watch here. Amazon 180, hold of 177, next level 182. Okay? Google. it's just a very strong stock. So if you just want to look for strong, if you want to look for pullbacks to long on Google, I don't think it's a terrible idea. I just don't like the intraday action, to be honest, like for short-term trading. Like, this is just not it for me, right? This is your day on Wednesday. This is your day on Thursday. This is your Friday. This is like straight up, straight down, straight back up. It's a little bit messy to me, the way Google has been trading. I just don't love it. But overall, there's no denying the fact that this is a very strong name. So you can see very strong hold of that 155. Nice 20 SMA hold yesterday. Very nice. I'm a little bit concerned about what's going to happen up here around this 160 and this 158, right? You can see this 160 rejection, 160, that failure a little bit higher up here around that 161, right? You can see right there around that 161 as well. 161 double, triple top. So a little bit cautious into that, right? So I would say this is how I'd look at it. I'd look at it like this. I'd say either long here or short here, right? That's what I'd look for on Google. I'd look for trying to get longs on any pullback. If you can get a pullback into 155, I'd look for longs down here, right? For that long back up into that 161. And then I would start to think about, ditching longs as you get into 161. That's how I would play this. When it gets choppy like this, for me, I like to think a little bit larger picture, right? If it gets a little bit too choppy for me, then I like to step back, think again, and sort of look at it with a larger channel, or where are the bigger levels, right? If I start to feel like my levels are way too short term, they're sort of just chopping around and not really have significance to them, I like to think about, okay, where are the larger levels? And so for me here, the larger levels are 155 and 161, okay? And I would wait to trade off those. Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft is interesting. You could look for that Microsoft trade off that 100 SMA, right? This is a potential very high risk-reward setup. It definitely is, right? You can see right here, guys, Microsoft. This is a previous triple bottom at 400, and you can see it's holding that 100 SMA again right here. This is a very interesting high risk-reward setup. I would say Microsoft could most likely trade into 410, right? I would say Microsoft most likely trades into 410, where it could continue this stair-stepping lower, right? Look at this. This is your stair-stepping move lower right now. This is the trend. The trend of this move on the 4-hour chart is break of lows, lows into highs. Break of lows, it would be lows into highs, right? So you can see right here, break of lows, previous lows into highs. Break of the lows, previous lows into highs. This would be the trending move, right? This is how you trend lower. So I would say you will push higher on Microsoft into 410. You will absolutely, I think you will see that. But the question is that just a lower high, right? That's the big question. Is that just a lower high being formed for more downside? It does have earnings on Thursday, so it's a question mark there. But I would say watch that 410, watch that 100 SMA. All right, guys, I think that's about it. Here's the problem here today, guys, all right? Let me just preface this one more time. The problem that you're going to have today is earnings, okay? And we all know that, right? Like stocks like Meta, I don't want to trade Meta. It has earnings. Microsoft, I really don't have interest in trading Microsoft. It has earnings. Google has earnings, right? So you got to I would just play it a little bit safe with a lot of these earnings coming out. IV is going to be high on all these contracts. Meta's IV is insanely high. Tesla IV is insanely high. Google and Amazon IVs are going to be rising. It just makes it a little bit of a less, worse environment for us as traders of options. So be careful of that, okay? And also understand that you could be proven incorrect this week because of that economic data and because of that earnings data, right? You have to understand that your technicals, your mindset could be proven wrong this week because of the external factors on the market this week, right? You have to make sure you don't get too hard-headed because of that, right? You have to understand what's going to hit the market, what can affect the market, and that's about it, right? So SMCI, I had nothing for you, man. Look at SMCI. It was a shit attempt at anything yesterday. Absolutely nothing. Apple is a destructive stock. Stop trying to trade it. This is what Apple has done for pretty much an entire month, almost 2 months. It's done nothing. So I don't like Apple as an intraday trade. Apple is buy it, don't trade it. Own it, don't trade it. It's one of the things I will agree with Mr. Kramer. If you're going to trade Apple, I'd rather you just buy shares. All right, guys. Have a fantastic day. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Press that like button if you guys could. Thank you for all the support. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.